Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. In this video we're going to be taking a look at yet another Compaq desktop PC, the Compaq DeskPro 286E. Now this is obviously a 286 based computer, so a lot older than the previous Compaqs that we have seen, but yet a really stylish desktop PC in my opinion. Really love the form factor of this thing, the simplicity of it. So yeah, really excited to take a look here. I haven't turned it on yet, so I'm not really sure what to expect, but we are going to be giving it a go. I'm not going to do a full diagnostics before I turn it on. I have high confidence that the machine will work for some reason. So yeah, let's just dive into it and see what this little Compaq DeskPro 286E has to offer. And we'll start by looking at the front with this nice little Compaq badge, the 5¼ inch disk drive with room for an additional two 5¼ inch drives and the power button. On the back, it's also very simple. We have the power supply. We have an external video card here, which is odd because we also have an internal video card here alongside with some I/O and the PS2 ports. So yeah, really strange to see an external video card here. So yeah, opening it up is pretty easy. We have these toolless screws that we can just open up, and then the internals will reveal themselves. So yeah, classic layout. We have some documentation here just above the disk drives. We have the hard drive mounted here. After that, we have that external video card here, and we can see a little bit of the motherboard. Power supply is sitting on the right here, which is definitely not a standard form factor. But yeah, let's try and turn it on and see what she does. And nothing. We saw the power LED blinking for a split second, but then nothing seems to happen until all of a sudden the machine started booting. So that's pretty strange, right? I mean, why would it take like 5 seconds for that machine to start? Pretty interesting. So yeah, try and see if we can come up with an explanation for that one. But we can see some information here on the video card, the Oak Technology video card with 256 kilobytes of RAM. We get a couple of beeps indicating that the system options are not set and we need to insert a diagnostic diskette in drive A. Another thing that I noticed as I was turning on the PC is that the hard drive was making this funny sound. It doesn't appear like it was actually spinning up. You can hear like a motor trying to spin up, but failing to do so. So yeah, I'm definitely expecting something which is going to be off here. So let's see if we can get that hard drive out. It's in this little cage here on the back of the computer. Everything is pretty tightly coupled in terms of IDE connectors, but I was able to pull it out. It's a Connor hard drive. It's a hard drive you see a lot in these old machines, Compaq machines, but also IBM machines. Type 43. I'm guessing this is a 40 megabyte hard drive. It's the Connor CP3411. So yeah, not really have a lot of hope for this one. Does appear to be broken. It's not the first Connor from this era that I had to replace. Obviously a fully functioning hard drive, you can actually hear it spinning up and it makes a totally different sound than the Connor one. But yeah, we'll see if we can get it back up and running or see if we can replace it. But yeah, for now we're going to be focusing on the computer and what it is telling us to do, which is to insert a diagnostic diskette in drive A to set up the system and also set the correct date and time. So we're going to be focusing on that now. On the case here, we have some documentation on the various switches that we'll take a look later on, but I want to focus on this disk drive here, this 5¼ inch disk drive, which has a pretty strange form factor. It's also not standard. It's kind of half height disk drive. It has this release mechanism where when you insert the disk like so, you just push this little button here to lower the head so that it can read off the disk. But I wasn't able to boot from that diagnostic disk for some reason. It just kept displaying this blinking cursor and it really didn't do anything. So First, I thought there might have been an issue with the disk drive itself or with the disk itself. So it's always pretty, finicky to work with these old 5¼ inch floppies. Sometimes the floppy is bad, sometimes the disk drive is bad. You're really never 100% sure. So I tried a couple of different disks, and at some point I tried booting off of a DOS 3.3 boot disk that I know worked on another PC, and then I noticed that the drive was picking up the disk and I was able to boot into MS-DOS 3.3, so that was already good. Now, I did create this diagnostic diskette. I just wasn't able to boot from it, but when I inserted that diagnostic diskette once I was loaded into MS-DOS, I figured I'd take a look and see what kind of files we had on there to see if we could launch something. And I noticed that there was a setup executable here on this diagnostic disk, so I just ended up running that. But as I was starting up the setup program, all of a sudden the computer died on me. It just shut down. It actually did a full reset, so that was pretty odd. So on a second attempt, I tried it to load the setup application again. I got a little bit further as I was able to enter the Compaq setup utility. I was able to go through some of the menus here. So I was able to set the date, I was able to set the time, but then again, all of a sudden, computer shuts down. And that kind of got me thinking if this could be related to the fact when I turned on the PC for the very first time that it took like 5-6 seconds before the machine actually started spinning up. So perhaps there's a power supply issue at play here, something that we will need to look at. So yeah, we'll see what's the root cause of that. Now I have to say at some point I was able to enter the setup application. And once I was in, I was able to set both the date and I was also able to set the time. I was able to set the configuration of the disk drives. I also got this nice little overview of the Compaq DeskPro here, the various disk drives, the disk controllers. I thought that while saving this and rebooting the computer that would get rid of the system options not set message that we saw earlier, but unfortunately I still got the beeps here, and then that was followed by the message that the system options were not set. Now obviously if there's an issue with the battery in the computer, which is not that uncommon for these old computers, that it might have issues saving those system options. So I'm going to be trying to locate the battery on this motherboard. For that I need to remove this whole drive cage here, which includes our 5¼ inch floppy drive, which will give us a better view of the motherboard. And located here on the center of the motherboard, we have the infamous Dallas real-time clock chip here. Now, Compaq was kind enough to provide us with a socket already. So usually these things are kind of, hardwired or soldered onto the motherboard. This one is nicely placed in a socket, so it's very easy to replace them. You can still get these things new. So I have a replacement part here. Fortunately, it came in with some bent pins, but after fixing that, I was able to place it into the socket and then try to see if we would be able to persist those system options right now. So again, we enter the setup utility, we enter everything. Now we get a different message here. We get a clear message that the system and the date time is not set. So we will, it has definitely picked up something in terms of real-time clock or battery. So we can now enter a date, we can enter a time, and then we will see if we can enter the system options and see if they will get persisted. So yeah, while I'm in here, I'm also going to take a look at the disk controller configuration. So I want to set up this hard drive, and Compaq provides you with a list of drives that it supports. So hitting F1 gives us this list here. Now on the hard drive, it was stated that it was a type 43, which would be a 42 or 43 megabyte hard drive. So I'm just going to enter that and see if the system will, attempt to boot with the hard drive. Don't really have high hopes, but I'm more interested now in seeing if the system options message has disappeared. So let's reboot the computer. We'll do its memory count again. We'll initialize its disk drives. And as you can see, we no longer have the system option message. We do have the non-system disk or disk error, and that's because this hard drive appears to be broken. Now, sometimes you can give it a little help by just pushing it on the side. You see, for example, if something is stuck, that we might be able to revive it. But alas, I mean, I wasn't able to get anything out of the hard drive, so I'm going to take this as a loss, and I'm going to be looking at my pile of other old hard drives, which should include a couple of hard drives that still work. So we have a Seagate here that might be interesting. I'm looking for hard drives which have around, you know, 40 to 100 megabyte of disk space. Some of these here will be larger, but for example, this Seagate here might be a good fit. Will fit the era of the computer nicely. So yeah, it's a matter of just finding a couple of hard drives. Here we have another Connor hard drive, but it's going to be too big. So it's just a matter of finding a hard drive which will be compatible with this Compaq computer. So here we have another Connor hard drive, 100 megabyte, I think. So yeah, we'll see what's possible. So I came up with a short list of 4 potential hard disk replacements. We have this Connor hard drive. This is the CP3104, which I think is a 100 megabyte hard drive. Now I'm picking this Connor one because these Connor drives were used in a lot of old systems, and a lot of these old systems seem to have support for Connor hard drives. So yeah, let's boot up the system with this hard drive connected to it. The hard drive is spinning, so that is definitely already better. But as I was entering the Compaq setup utility, I got the immediate message that the installed fixed drive is not supported by this machine. So it did try to do some kind of auto detection, I can only imagine, and found that this drive was not compatible. So up to the next, we're going to be testing this Seagate drive. I actually have 2 of them. They are pretty old drives. I think these are 40 megabyte drives. And I think it might be a good idea to try one of these 2. This, in fact, is both an AT and an XT IDE compatible drive, which can be set using Jumper. So I think I'm going to give this one a try and see if I can boot the system with this Seagate hard drive. So let's turn it on. We do see that the hard drive is spinning, so that is already good. I did try this hard drive a couple of months ago on another machine, and I know that the drive is working. So let's see with the Compaq setup utility if it is found. And indeed it is. It's identified as a Type 17 40 megabyte hard drive. So yeah, it does have auto detection built in, which is pretty nice. So let's exit the setup program and see if the machine will boot with this hard drive. And it appears to be the case. So we have a French version of MS-DOS on this hard drive. We don't get any error messages anymore. We have MS-DOS 6.22 installed and appears to be working fine. So yeah, that's pretty nice. The next thing I wanted to look at was this video card here, which was kind of surprising to see this Oak external video card here, because this computer does have an internal video. So in order to activate that, we need to set some dip switches here on these blocks. Luckily, everything is pretty well documented on the case. We also have some documentation on the side here, which includes some information on installing a coprocessor and also adding some memory to the machine, which uses this 16-bit memory expansion board that you can slot into this special slot here. And as a matter of fact, in one of my previous videos where I covered the Compaq DeskPro 386S, that computer, in fact, did have such a memory expansion card installed. So if you're interested in that type of thing, be sure to check out that video as well, where I do remember us having similar issues with both the hard drive and the Dallas chip as well. But yeah, for this 286 here, we're just going to have to do with 1 megabyte of RAM. Here on the case, we also have some documentations outlining the different switch settings. So options for power on speed, for enabling or disabling the primary disk adapter, the I/O controllers. But yeah, everything is set correctly now. The computer does boot without that external video card, so I'm just going to be removing that Oak card, as I don't really see the need for it, and I don't think that this kind of system supports, you know, dual VGA display. So yeah, time to put everything back in, put a monitor and a keyboard onto the computer and start enjoying it a little bit. So yeah, really happy with how this system turns out. I was able to replace the battery. I was able to replace the hard drive. System seems to be working fine, except for that issue with the reset that happens every once in a while. So there's definitely still an issue with the power supply that we need to figure out. I haven't gotten around to it just yet, as I have a lot of other stuff to do, but that will definitely come up in one of the future videos where we will be tackling this. But for now, I'm just going to be enjoying the machine as it is right now. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you like it, please consider subscribing to the channel, giving it a like, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody, and bye-bye.